prioritize the welfare of the generality of Nigerians as the reforms continue to bear fruits. He gave the assurance in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, during a meeting with the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, Madam Christina Georgina. A statement by the presidential spokesperson Bayo Ononoga explained that the president to the IMF managing director that his government was working on a comprehensive reform of taxation to stimulate the economy further. Mr. Ononoga added that the president acknowledged that the massive economic reform efforts have created a side effect that affected the purchasing power of Nigerians. While hailing the IMF chief on her election for her second term in office, President Tinubu appreciated her support in implementing reforms and called for more institutional backing for stability and sustainable growth. The president emphasized that critical need for educational access, adding that substantial resources must be invested to stimulate the much-needed infrastructural development in the country. The federal government has said it will collaborate with the World Bank to expand Nigeria's credit support funds by $50 million to reach more young people, including businesses led by young women, people with disabilities, and young rural dwellers. Minister of Youth Development, Comrade Adeleke Olawande, who communicated this when he hosted the World Bank team led by World Bank economist Mr. Meshwar Shorastina in Abuja, revealed that the partnership will provide jobs directly or indirectly to 10 million youths within the next 5 years. Comrade Olawande said the forum would enable him to update the team on the various activities and engagements of the ministry in the past months. He noted that the current reality showed that 50 million youths are in the labor market and an additional 5.5 million will join the labor market every year. In the meantime, the federal government has called for an urgent action to reduce the growing impacts of climate change on its regions. The ECs were highlighted during a side event hosted by the Federal Minister of Regional Development at COP29 back in Azerbaijan. The Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Mama, stressed the severity of climate change facing the country, noting that agriculture, infrastructure, public health, and livelihoods were at risk. The minister said the effects of climate change are evident across Nigeria, stating that decisive steps must be taken to protect the people, environment, and future. The minister said the Northwest has seen unpredictable rainfall resulting in severe flooding, damaging infrastructure, and displacing residents. Mohammed explained that nearly all the region's primary forests have been lost as a result of human activities, with oil exploration and acid rain further compounding the effects of the phenomenon. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, has disclosed that the National Assembly is considering amendments to 162 areas in the 1999 Constitution in the ongoing review. Briefing newsmen after a closed-down session with governors of the 36 states of the Federation during their meeting in Abuja, Kalu said governors are critical stakeholders in the process, hence the need for their inputs. Honorable Kalu said the federal lawmaking body is considering the issues of state police, electoral reform, local government autonomy, diaspora voting, autonomy of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), and post-election concerns, as well as court rulings on electoral matters, among others, in the review. He said the governors were in support of the initiative and ready to welcome the lawmakers when they start visiting various states for public hearing. The Deputy Speaker emphasized the importance of collaboration between the forum and the committees, proposing the establishment of a one-stop shop framework to align state-level priorities with the constitutional review process. In the meantime, the Senate has amended the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Act to prescribe life imprisonment for individuals found guilty of storing, transporting, or concealing illicit drugs and substances. The amendment was adopted during plenary presided over by Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin following wide support from the senators. The rejigging reflects a harmonized position of the Senate and the House of Representatives on Section 1 of the NDLA Act. The House had earlier passed an amendment prescribing life imprisonment for drug traffickers, while the Senate had imposed death penalty. Meanwhile, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, Senator Tahir Munguno, who presented the harmonized version of the Senate, urged lawmakers to adopt the House position of life imprisonment, arguing that enforcing the death penalty could lead to execution of over 900 accused persons currently awaiting trial for drug-related offenses. And now to sport. Former international Sam Soje has admonished the Nigerian Football Federation and other sports stakeholders to put up their thinking caps to fully prepare the Super Eagles for the upcoming 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Speaking with most men in Ole, Delta State, Soje said his admonition was as a result of not too impressive performance of the Super Eagles lately. The former Super Eagles player said he was still nursing the pain from the 2-1 home defeat of the Super Eagles by Rwanda, lamenting that the Nigerian players were not positioning themselves to win the game. While bemoaning the local attitude of the players when it comes to playing for Nigeria, he advised them to see the importance of the game and start playing themselves to it to bring honor to themselves and the country. Following these developments, Samsoje then cautioned the NFF to wake up from sleep and face reality now to avoid further defeats. On the foreign scene, Singapore has hanged a 55-year-old man for drug trafficking. Its narcotics enforcement agency said this is the city-state's third execution in a week as United Nations called for her halt. The UN and rights groups say capital punishment has not proven deterrent effect and have called for it to be abolished, but Singaporean officials insist it has helped make the country one of Asia's safest. Singapore's Central Narcotics Bureau said the death sentence was carried out for Rosman Abdullah, who was convicted for trafficking 57.3 grams of heroin. Under the country's tough drug laws, the death penalty kicks in for any amount above a 15-gram threshold. The hanging of Shanghai prison followed the November 15 execution of two men, a 39-year-old Malaysian and a 53-year-old Singaporean. Other ends the media news on OSBC television. It was edited by Michael Adeleke. Join us at 3 for the state news. Good afternoon.